So Marley, back to you. Sorry, actually, just before you do kick off, can we please make sure everyone speaks clearly into their mics? There are note takers and stuff like that online, so they're struggling a little bit. And also the conversation, awesome. So thanks very much. The staff are getting clear directions and that sort of thing, what's important to councillors. So it has been a good conversation to date. Thank you, Marley.
Warren, can I just add on that, please, while you're going? If people are referring to, something, a discussion point, can they just know what page they're referring to so we can flick to it quickly?
Yep.
Cool.
Thank you, Marley.
Thank you, Chair. So before moving on to the next part of the workshop, which is about membership, can I just double check that there are, everyone has had the opportunity to identify what they wanted to in the terms of reference that might need discussion and or refinement? Cool. Last chance. Right, done.
Done.
Moving on then to membership. So we'll jump to the next slide and then we're actually going to jump to another document. In the workshop papers, we did include a document that set a bit of a framework where we can record membership for each of the committees. Along with that, I know there's been some conversations amongst councillors with our chairperson around the committees that you'd like to see yourself on. And so we have gone ahead and populated the document with the information that has been shared with us. But there still is opportunity for others to be added to the committees because they're not fully populated yet. And so now might be a really good opportunity to work through that document and identify committees where you'd like to see yourself a member on. So Dave, I'll get you to bring up that document. We'll start with the discretionary committees, run through the mandatory ones, and then start having a look at the other groups that council also appoints to. If we don't quite get it fully populated today, or if we have to go away and do some further work, if you have to have some further thought on it, that's absolutely fine. We'll just see where we get to today before then moving on to the next kaupapa around remuneration. Yep.
That's all right. We had a few comments multiple times now about committees of the whole, and I just wanted to throw it out there as an idea. And I realized some obviously cannot be, but we could start, I'm not advocating for this, I'm just putting out this idea, could start with committees of the whole for some of the key committees and look at a review in 6 or 9 months, like some have indicated, to reduce it after that. But let's carry on with the process. It was just a thought I wanted to share.
Can we not do these ones until we actually do the committees themselves?
In your hands.
Thank you.
EPC, environmental performance. We did talk about increasing membership, increasing the scope and the mana of this one. So at the moment, from what we understand, 3 councillors are interested. Now might be the opportunity to identify anyone else who would be interested in this committee.
So just before we get underway, I'll just, and a few councillors have come to me today, but please speak up now as we work this through. And just acknowledging I haven't had a discussion with Tipper to preempt this or Mikhail, so that's why you'll potentially see their names missing off the piece that I put through. So speak now or forever hold your peace. And again, and again, sort of as Jen touched on, but the membership numbers are up for discussion too. You know, as things formulate, if we're calling for 6 members and you want 8 or 9, then by all means, please, let's bring that through too. So Tipper.
Kia ora tātou. Thank you, Warren, for the conversation we had, and I'll definitely weigh in the committees I want to be in. This is one of them, but Kataraina and I are managing a strategy where we want to represent our constituents across all the elements of council. So I yield to Kataraina in this space. I won't go on this committee because you have kata here, but I note that there are committees where neither of us are. So again, we're trying to give the benefit of our advisory into the work of council. It doesn't serve us to be on the same committees at the same time, but I'll attend EPC as those matters are in my wheelhouse and not Kataraina's in support of her. So I just wanted to clarify that at the table. Kia ora.
Thanks, Tipper. Jen.
Yeah, as a learning from previous trainings, I'd be really keen to see katoa tipper on one of each, a lot of the time, not every single, but each. It just worked a lot better, the training, we did have that. But I'd have an interest in EPC as indicated before. And yeah, noting Brent's comments, there were a lot of comments made last training about this is really key work, which could benefit from a higher membership number.
Yeah, no, and Robbie did indicate this and I missed it off, so apologies, councillor.
I'd actually like to see this being a committee of 8 to 10. There was too many meetings where members had to leave and we end up voting and there was only 3 members in the room. So I don't think that makes good decision making myself. So I'd like to see it around 8 or 10, but that's just my personal point of view. That if members have to leave early, at least there's still 6 to 8 of us making those, having that discussion.
Be better placed there than Robbie, unless you particularly wanting to be on this one, Robbie. Okay.
Encouraging more members.
Put as an alternate. Yeah.
Keith.
Yeah. All I'd like to say is that I'm absolutely interested in all these committees, but I've got to be realistic. I'm human most of the time. And
There'll be a vote on that later.
and I'm just conscious of workload. So I don't know what my responsibility is going to end up, but whatever I do, I want to do properly. So I'm just signaling that I'm interested. So if my name doesn't come forward, it's not because I'm not interested.
So I think it means just pop his name in there in the meantime. Thanks. Yep. So anyone else interested in sitting on this committee at this stage?
I'm there as an alternate. So. You're there. Yeah. Okay.
So we'll, so that's now a committee of 8. So it sounds like there's a better grade there. We did hear, obviously, the terms of reference, and that has increased across that space. So it's good to have that articulated as well.
Thank you.
Is that all you need? Yeah.
It is, it is. So this is basically what we're going to do through all of the committees, just quickly do a whip through and identify who wants to be on. So let's move to the next page. Thank you, Dave. And yep. By council. Yes. We haven't had that discussion. You haven't missed anything. We haven't talked about chairs or deputies, but just in terms of the process, the default is that council makes those decisions unless it delegates it elsewhere. Finance and performance.
Oh, it's just a question. Warren and Co, like when do we have those discussions? When is that coming up?
I think it's a discussion that's been happening within the one-on-ones to a certain extent, but it's something that'll be coming through in that ratification of them at the November meeting for the council to vote on.
So in the decision meeting, okay.
Well, we're in a workshop. Okay.
Thank you. Finance.
No. What the recommendations will be, so that we can, chairs and deputy chairs.
I'd be interested to know who might be interested, but we
I
don't
think
have
we'll
to
we'll
decide.
progress through with this piece and then see where we land. Yeah. So we have Finance and Performance Committee in front of us. Now, I know there's been a number that have potentially also indicated their membership on that. So anybody else interested in, apart from the names that are there now?
I'm happy to
Oh,
join that
sorry,
committee. Thank you.
Yeah, Robbie?
Yes, myself. Yeah, please.
Anybody else in this space currently? Again, as I mentioned earlier, if you think about it, that this isn't the final in any shape or form, but it's something we can have staff work through.
Yes, correct. So moving on to the
Thanks.
next.
Yep.
Let's see if we can get it through it quite quickly because there's pages and pages and pages. Hauraki Scheme Committee, which includes the chair of integrated catchment and the deputy, plus
It's Hauraki.
Hauraki Scheme Committee.
Is it? Is that something you want to indicate now, or is that something you'd rather do once you've got ICM sort of set up? It seems to be to me, it would make more sense to do it once ICM's up and running, if that's, I mean, yep. Which ones? Councillor being in there, yep. Yeah.
Myself.
Yeah.
So over the many years I've been involved, there's never been anybody else other than the constituent on this particular one. Same as one, same as the upper one.
Yeah.
So wow, if you considering we already know who the it's up to me whether I want to be there or not. Keith and Rob.
Is that how you want? Look, I'm happy to deal with it, deal with it anyway. Okay, sorry, Dave, if we can go back a bit further so just people can see what it is. Down a bit? No, down. Yeah, just so they can see, read that, that's what it's for. So if you guys can use your mics too, please, because we do have note takers. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and next one's. Oh, you got the.
So that's what you want to see?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm asking you, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Integrated catchment, we do have a full number of 10 there, but
I'm quite happy to stand down from that. Now I am representing Hamilton rather than Whitehouse. So that leave that space for someone else.
Pippa?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I sat as a member of ICM last triennium. I sat through the whole SIDF process. I feel I've accumulated at least that bundle of knowledge to support. So I'd like to see. I know Kata and I are both in here, but it's a big region. We've got to cut it in half. So thank you. No, you stay because I ain't doing your half. I'm teasing. I've got Gary too.
Okay, so apart from Tipper, Jen, sorry.
Yeah, I would like to get to know this area a bit deeper. So if you could pop, great, but obviously keep considering in light of how everything else.
Yeah.
Blood on you. It's not gumboots. It's more it's his blood that's drawn.
Righto, regional growth and resilience.
I'd like
One
to
we've spoken
add
on
to that committee. I got missed when we had our
Yes,
discussion. Obviously, yeah.
apologies for that. Yep.
He's on there. Keith.
Pippa?
Yep, Keenes. needs to support this conversation and bring in the Māori economy. Thank you.
Robbie,
Yeah.
yep. Yep, again, that is, once we get to that November meeting of ratification and
Yeah.
if you're looking at it thinking no, but happy to sit in at different times and, yeah. Yep. Okay, next one up.
There are a couple of highlights through this document where, when we set it up, we've identified that we had more appointees than positions. So in scope of the conversation where we're going to change that, you can disregard the highlights.
I really enjoyed this committee.
Yeah,
It was
this is a
good,
good
but I see
committee.
it's quite
Cool.
popular. I'd be
Yeah,
to
happy to-
on it though. Add one of
Yeah, okay. I just want to say that for those councillors who want to get up and under the litter council, this is a really good committee to attend anyway, especially for those efficiencies you're looking for.
even if it's just the start of the meeting, risk and opportunities and
Come up along a few times.
So it's something you want to, oh, you are on there, sorry, yep. Okay, next one up.
Public Transport Subcommittee, it's got quite a big preamble.
So this is, yeah, so this is our mandated one with two people, so there was an indication, I thought.
Yeah, I'm,
Angela and Liz, I thought were an indication in that space.
that'd be really good. And we'll hopefully figure out what we're doing with properly, but obviously I'd be quite keen to see all Hamilton City constituent councillors working with Hamilton City on getting the public transport and infrastructure right. That just needs to happen for this city.
Yep, next one up. Grattan Poll is obviously a committee of the whole, and
Yeah.
everyone's happy to keep it as that way. They functioned really well once we got to that point. Yeah.
That will come back to it.
Yep. Two Noels.
I'd like to put my name up in there, please.
Yeah, so with myself, as we discussed earlier, potentially just, sitting there in the background. But Mikhail, I know is interested in that space and was there previously, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Next one up.
Here's where we get into the mandatory committees.
No, this is still discretionary.
Oh, it is too, yeah, after this one.
Last one, yeah. Yep. Only if you use your microphone. So we've had a lot of discussion, obviously, around transport. Is there any, Angela?
oh, just saying Tipper or Kata would be great.
Thank you. Oh. Now,
Now,
now.
mandatory committees.
Did you want to say something? Oh.
Didn't.
This
Um,
is future proof. And on this committee, it's two.
Yes, so we have one, Future Proof has two members, so we have one too many, so potentially someone needs to volunteer to be the alternate. And Councillor Ma is a member on this committee by way of his position as Chair of Council.
That have to be the case?
It's mandated, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
in their tours, so the partners probably would have to agree
Yeah.
to change that.
I'd really like us to think about that because with Liz having been there, not against you as a person, it's just people who have had the history of it. There's been 12 or 15 years of it now.
Oh, yeah, I've got a comment. Yeah. Appreciate where you're coming from, Noel. The other thing is on the, depending on where things land with chair and deputy of RTC and PT subcommittee, there's that recommendation that the chair of that PT subcommittee is a non-voting member around Future Proof anyway. So depending on where that falls, I think we do have the right people there. And with that link in there, they'll be able to sit at the table. Yeah.
I'll just flick to Tracy, so if I can get Tracy a mic, please.
Thank you. Morning, councillors. It's oh God, do I have to yell? Can you hear me now? Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to make a really important comment. Future proof and its importance going into the next couple of years with our new system reform for the Resource Management Act, so the Planning Act and the Environment Act. And we have heard quite a bit of chatter about sub-regional growth strategies and their role and whether they will be implemented on day one and locked into the wider regional spatial plan. So I was heartened by the conversation that Tipper started around having committees that aren't really focused on what we've done, but where we're going. And I think with Future Proof, the knowledge of Future Proof doesn't have to be deep, but that knowledge of the system and how it works going forward, if the new legislation comes out, we don't know what it'll say. There's a heck of a lot of shadow boxing that says these sub-regional growth strategies are operative from day one until such time as your regional spatial plan's up and running. And we know that the government's agenda for growing growth is very much focused on infrastructure, transport, and land use provision, very much what's at the core of Future Proof. So I just wanted to throw that in there. This is one of those committees that might rise in importance in the next 6 to 12 to 18 months. Thanks, Warren.
Thank you, Tracy, for that input. Jennifer.
Sorry.
So just for my benefit, sorry, and around what you were saying, Angela, so how do you think we could have 3 on it again? Sorry, I just can't quite get my head around it.
Oh, so through the PT subcommittee with that dotted line down to FPIC, part of the terms of reference is that the chair of that would sit as a non-voting member of FPIC to be able to contribute to the discussion but not vote, which means, say, previously around FPIC, the alternate had to sit away from the table. But say if the alternate was the chair of the PT subcommittee, then they would sit at the table to add to the discussion but not vote.
On top of the 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
Sorry, I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that clears it up. Oh, no.
We're good.
All I was going to add is that's covered in the final sentence of the pink section there. So has the power to co-opt. And that's intended to capture that comment that Councillor Strange has just made.
Thank you. Eric Golf Forum. So that's one I've sat on. I'd like to stay in that space. Robbie's indicated as the alternate, so we have one and the alternate. As you know, previously I co-chaired it. I do look to potentially move out of that space, but I think just for consistency, there's a meeting coming up in March, probably do that and then slowly sort of slide out and throw Robbie into it. So. Yeah, maybe I phrased that wrong. Yeah. No, that's what I meant.
With both hands?
Chair, if you
so-
happen to do that, then I'm happy to go on as
Come in.
well. Yeah,
Perfect.
only if you happen to
Yep.
do that.
No, more than happy. Thank you. Get her on it. Where are the spiders going to stay? Raukawa Charitable Trust.
Warren, sorry, I mean Robbie.
Yeah, in my list, I put some general names there that we're interested in positions on the JMAs, etc. So let's, Tipper.
Happy to support the Raikawa JMA. If it's easier for members that are going Raikawa and Katarana goes on Waikato, therefore our embedded iwi interest are neutralised. Kia ora.
I would want to just encourage, if there are any new councillors,
Oh.
it's really good to
I
go.
was happy to go on that one.
Yes.
Because when
Thanks,
you've
Liz.
got a few that have done it before with a few new ones, it can be really good.
And I do see, just for reference, me stepping into this space, not necessarily being a full member on it, but getting along there to understand and meet. Thanks, Garrett.
All these JMAs, the Waiora committee, when we populate that, it needs to be. I think when we come to populating the Waiora committee, we need to pull from the JMA committees. So just remember that if you want to be part of the Waiora, that you need to be part of this, is in my view.
Yeah.
Alternate.
Happy to be an alternate. If there are no others, but I'm happy to defer if others would like to.
Thank you, Jen. That's you. We've got RTC. Okay. Oh, there. Just one. Oh. Thank you, Michael.
Probably don't need an alternate. Sorry, I was just going to say the same thing as you, Mike, and I was going to say we don't need a second alternate, do we? So if one's good, one's good.
Mike.
Just on that, I don't know whether you're bringing it up, but there's also the State Highway 3 Working Group, who I've co-chaired with the New Plymouth Regional Council, and I don't know whether that comes up in the.
That are in this document, yeah.
Michael and Robbie, I've had interest on this one from the two of you that I didn't note down. It's been a long week.
I was going to say, I'm happy to.
And Liz, thank you.
Anyone want to be an alternate?
Potential alternate.
Okay. Get another new voice on. Yep. If we could. Steve?
Sorry, Gary, it's a shit position to be sitting in because I don't often see the light over there, but
Okay. Just going back to the RTC, is there any other room on that one for a position or not?
no.
No, forget it. Bye.
Nipa Nipa? Yep, so Katarina and Mikhail. Yep. You can carpool.
What's this one?
Uh,
I was happy to do this. Nick.
Yes. Was it,
Yeah,
is there only one?
And
there is.
there's only one member for Te Nihi Nui.
Thank you, Tipper, and that's Gary Kramer. Two for Retoa. Yep, Mikhail.
Yeah, I'll go.
Tipper, yep.
Katarina's volunteering me.
Any other councillors interested in the space? Two. We have a fourth member of interest.
Sort this one out.
It was-
Katarina for alternate, thank you.
So we've got three names here, but we're seeking
One
one.
and an alternate. So, is any of those three, is there anyone that would step down for experience around any of the others? Otherwise, I would suggest that the three of you perhaps get together and discuss it, and it'd be good to see decision across the three drop to one and alternate. Okay, so you're too long in the tooth, yep.
And so I'll now turn the mic on. I'm happy to step aside because I don't need to learn anything.
Appreciate that, thank you. Thank you, Noel. And I did, well, yeah, Gary is the new boy in the room. Do you want to speak to your experience and then perhaps?
Yeah,
Jen?
my interest is in the civil defence and that I'm heavily involved in it up our way up there as well. So people
You want to explain your experience or
are,
just have the conversation with Jen around that space?
yeah, have a conversation, but
Yeah.
lead the community response groups and the Emergency Services Charitable Trust and been involved in St John Ambulance and family and what have you that are heavily involved in that. So yeah, fairly suited, I think.
I'll leave the two of you to discuss
That'd
that.
be good. And we can cover off what CEDM really does in like the governance space and how it's, yeah, versus the operational space and where it's come from with the new group plan. And Mike can also chat with us. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I-
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, can I just say, this is another committee that's really important, I think, because it touches especially iwi across the whole region. And that, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we are aware, there's a lot going on in the government space and civil defence, yeah.
Yeah, and it's an important committee from the point of view that it's something where all the TAs have to play together, and so and obviously resource that adequately. So, and it's been massive. Well, it's been improving, hasn't it, Tipper, around the iwi engagement space? It just took a little while.
Did you want to say something else?
If anything, like we had a meeting on this last night with the Emergency Services Charitable Trust that I'm a trustee on, is that the Waikato is behind the 8 ball on involvement in the civil defence with the funding for the government, and that's what we'd be heavily pushing for compared with what Auckland is getting. We're getting a massive amount compared with what's here, so that's very important to us.
I think with those two names there, I mean, we'll work some stuff out, but I think we'll be pretty well represented between somebody and an alternate. So I'm just, thanks, Noel.
Yep. Keith, did you want to comment?
Yeah, just having taken my hat off, my Waikato Federated Farmers hat off, we were very critical that the Federated Farmers aren't on that committee, and also the Contractors Federation and the rural contractors, because generally the things happen in areas that need immediate response.
Who's on the committee is actually mandated in legislation, so it's a national issue rather than a regional issue.
You. Next up. The Patu River Trust.
Yep,
Yeah.
keen on that one.
I'm keen as
Katarina,
well.
yes. Jennifer and Angela. And right, so this is this I think was at the back of your pack. So there's some
Pages.
yeah, towards the back prior to the
Yeah.
remuneration piece, but so there are a number of ones that some members won't be aware of that we
Just
actually
many.
have members in. So if you want to speak to this, Marley, and then we'll work our way through these ones.
Thank you, Chair. So, yeah, there's a handful of additional groups that council appoints to for a variety of reasons. First one is on the screen, Ag Research, Animal Ethics. Council has an existing nominee in place, and that is Barry Quayle. So we're not looking for anything at this stage for that one. Moving on to Hauraki Māori Trust Board, Joint Working Party. We have an MOU with Hauraki Māori Trust Board. We have found in recent times that we have had little opportunity to meet. Nonetheless, we do have an MOU and in place with 4 members. Up on the screen are the members from last term. All of the members have been re-elected, so potentially could remain appointed on this working party.
Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy to stay there. Ben?
I would suggest that Keith comes on instead of me, because obviously by how it fits into that whole area for both. Yeah.
That's a good question.
Certainly.
We've had the adaptation plan in the Wharikawa coast. So it's a subset of the Hauraki Plains. And what is
Yes, they're
what's the
moving.
future of that committee?
It's coming
I
up.
know they're separate, but it's in a similar area.
Hauraki District has merged those two into the Hauraki Plains
Oh, they have.
adaptation.
Yeah.
Okay, and that committee is an ongoing issue. It hasn't done its work.
Correct,
in
it's ongoing.
Carries on.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, so we've got Keith replacing Ben, and we've got Tipper replacing Katarina. Okay,
As I recall, we never had a meeting, did we?
no,
Yeah.
we didn't.
I did mention we haven't found it necessary to meet in recent times,
Yeah.
but we do have an MOU that says we must have a joint working party. So
And I just note, Te Pawa's settlement finally landed yesterday.
Yeah.
So a lot of these Hauraki
Oh, right.
settlements have been in abeyance. So it's a good, good
Mm.
choice.
Thank you. So yeah. Oh, Robbie, sorry.
Next one,
Oh,
if you're
okay, yeah.
finished with that.
Hauraki Plains, Adaptation Planning Joint Working Party. We have had communications from Hauraki District Council on this one, plus the Wharekawa Coast, to let us know that they will continue, and they suggest that we duplicate membership across those two groups to align membership. And it will be 3 members from Waikato Regional Council on both. So a slight change, reduction from 4 to
Well,
3.
Obviously, I'll drop out, but whether Keith replaces Warren, you decide.
The change of membership.
So, and we're dropping down from 4 to 3. Yeah. Obviously, and it's bringing in Wharekawa Coast into the Hauraki Adaptation one as well. So they're combining the two for efficiencies rather than having two. No, they are.
No,
Yeah,
and
they
they're
are.
just aligning the meeting that one follows the other, so it's not staff and
Double
turning up to 2 meetings. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got some continuity between Robbie and Warren. from the
Yeah,
Wharekawa
I was going to
piece.
say,
Great.
if we started changing the membership,
Yeah.
and I'm actually deputy chair of that committee, so I'd like to think there's some continuity in the membership. It'd be good. It's going to take another year or another 2 years, most probably, till it's finished.
So yeah, yeah.
No, in support of, totally support of the membership thing. My question is back through the chair to Marley. Can you check, because there's this one, the Waikato District Council one, but a number of them will now track up to regional growth and resilience in terms of what these subcommittees are set up to look at. And I just want to make sure that we're not double handling, so the same membership is on the subs leading up to that committee, or just, it'd be just for ease of information.
I'll check that.
Because me and Nola on the Waikato District, we've had one useful meeting and a whole lot of unuseful emails.
Yeah. Righto, moving on. So, and then Spurs. Sorry?
Is this a futile exercise? Can we be honest with ourselves? Or perhaps could I recommend we delay appointments till after Christmas?
That's fine. So no,
There is a Zone 2 meeting prior to Christmas. And we are paid up till Christmas. So,
Yeah,
and
makes
as we
sense.
don't make any decisions in a workshop.
Just, sorry, Mr. Chairman, just on that New Zealand regional sector group, am I allowed to go if you go, or can I only go if you don't go?
I can help with that.
Yeah,
I
please.
actually spoke with LGNZ this morning about it. The practice has always been that the chair and the chief executive go to it. If the chair doesn't go, it can send a delegate in their place.
Can I just note that I'll be attending the Local Government New Zealand Māori members group, and I've already turned down a nomination to chair that because our position is up there.
And that's prior to Christmas too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
So your comment, Mr. Chair, about we're not making any decisions, so we just undone everything we've just done.
No? Can I get control of his mic? There's no muting function. Yeah. All right, moving on. Yeah. That's right, yeah, that's it. Righto, moving on, yep. Lower Waikato River Catchment Ecological Trust. Oh, sorry, so two. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's everyone.
Yep, so that Warren and Mike make sense for that.
Lower Waikato River Catchment Ecological Trust. Who did we have on this last
Yeah.
time?
That's what I was going to ask.
Oh, it was Pamela.
Yes. Yeah, I'd be keen for that.
Yeah.
I also know that it never met last term, so Mangatotiri Reserve Community, but.
They'll come around when they need money, so there's no doubt. Liz? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd go for that as well, please. Okay.
Gary? Yep. So this,
Normally, it is, but I'd like to, whoever becomes chair, I'd like to ask whether I can carry on doing it. I really enjoyed it, built up some good relationships down there, and yeah. So if the chairs, whoever the chair is, yeah.
Can I ask a question of Mike?
yeah,
So the State Highway 3 starts here in Melville and Hamilton, just down the road here. So is the focus on the Taranaki end, or is it the whole length of State Highway 3?
No, I think I co-chaired it last year, and I'd like to think I batted pretty well. Phil, you'd like to answer this?
I think he's just asking where.
So the focus,
I'll go to Phil. Yeah.
so the focus of that group is the whole of State Highway 3, but which starts from Hamilton. But the membership and the attendance of that group tends to start at about Otorohanga and head south. So Otorohanga, Waitomo, South Waikato, as opposed to north of there. But the discussion certainly, is along the whole length of that.
Can I just add to that? Sorry, Phil, is that the important thing is that with so many closures or the potential closures on State Highway 1, it is a major artery. So it's not about our end, their end, it's the whole State Highway 3 and making sure that is resilient and can stay open. And when it does close, that the closure time, that there's plan B and plan C, that it can reopen as fast as it can.
And so supplementary, does that include 39 as well? Because 39 is a major contributory from Hamilton, the alternate route down to Otorohanga.
No, it's really State Highway 3 is a big, and of course you've got Mount Messenger, all that big work on that's going through there with acquiring through iwi land and the tunnels and everything like that, which they're now coming to the back end of it, because I think it was supposed to be finished this year, wasn't it, or end of this year? So,
Mr. Chairman, can I recommend that we take the RTC chair out of that and just put McCall's name in?
So I'm just checking with Dave whether that's mandated to be that RTC chair. He's just looking.
I do not know the answer. It's a committee that is administered by Taranaki District Council, Regional Council, I believe. I will check with them about whether we can, rather than do it by position of the RTC chair, make an appointment.
Thank you. Thames Coromandel District Council Shoreline Management Pathway. So again, that came down to basically constituent councillors last time. Yeah, you're happy in that spot, Kirana? Okay, I'm happy to carry on sitting in that space as well. I know there is a bit of work that has come to Greg, and that'll keep him out of mischief for a while. So, yep.
I'll just note, Mr. Chair, and I'm not saying you can't do it, but if at any time you find that the role, because it does get onerous,
Yes.
the chair role, please just flick it back to your other constituent councillor.
Here's got one.
That area, there is one.
It's him and Carolina.
Oh, well, you got to go up the catchment to keep.
Yeah, it could be good having alternates on that one.
No,
Appreciate that. Thank you. The Martha Trust.
please.
So,
Okay, no, I should probably stand down and give it to Robbie. You'll get the $200 a year.
So yes, so one AGM a year, and generally nothing else pops up. Again, this is something to that will kick in once the mine closes down and everything else and all the remedial work and everything has been done. That is why this is set up. So it'll never happen in mine and Robbie's lifetime. North Island Strategic Alliance. So I'll just get Chris to comment on this.
So again, a little bit like the regional sector group, it's attended by the mayors and the chairs of the relevant constituencies. I've never seen anybody else attend in addition, and so I'd have to check what the terms of reference are for it, and I don't know what that's, Dave. But I just wonder if it ought to be the chair and a delegate, or a delegate that can't attend.
Yeah, an alternate would be. On for the area.
Could I, yeah, I'm support. Warren. Is it?
So yes, I've had a briefing and stuff on it. I'm just, I'm happy to sit in that space. I was just going to go to Chris and ask, is the chair the second member? Sorry, is the CE, looked at?
The CE attends in an official capacity,
but it's not looked at.
And other staff attend, but the discussion is mainly between the mayors and chairs.
Okay.
Trying to get alignment. If I was going to suggest from a not a person point of view, but a position and council point of view, as an alternate, it would probably make sense to be either the deputy chair or the strategy and policy, because a lot of it's in that space. Tracy, did you have some information?
The only comment I was going to say is following on from that, it's usually been the deputy chair who will step in for the chair, and either the chair of Stratton Pole or the chair, one of our councillors who's on Future Proof Implementation Committee, because it is at Upper North Island again, that aggregation of Future Proof councils, Tauranga City and Western Bay and Auckland, so, and Northland I should say, but somebody who has that knowledge of the sub-regional spatial planning.
Just to give a little bit of information, what it's about is it kind of initially set up around the ports, trying to think about how the port study is done and how things should integrate. It's kind of morphed into spatial planning, a key infrastructure development plan, looks at things like biosecurity issues that span across boundaries. And my observation has been in the last 3 years, it's really kicked on and started to be a space where it's where half of New Zealand's population need to be some more detailed thinking about how things work in the upper part of the North Island.
Okay, Angela.
Yeah, I agree with what Chris has just said. I think it's really important from a freight and a connectivity point of view that it's can I get my name up there? And I think Tipper would be a good person as well. So yeah, just for consideration.
Currently, I see myself as a definite, and then we're looking at that second position. And my understanding is I'm hearing that Noel has an interest, Tipper has an interest, and Angela. Oh, so that's a no.
No, but I want to speak into the committee itself.
Oh,
I'm going to support whoever gets on here.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when you're ready, Mr. Chair, I don't want to.
No. So Noel, did you have no?
Turn your mic on, no?
I've always had an interest in this space, obviously because of the Golden Triangle, and with my former experience fully involved. So I'm not going to die in the ditch on it. So yeah, I'm happy to just leave it. But
Mr. Chair, again, I'm not seeking membership. I'll support whoever gets onto this one. But I note that between UNISHA and Future Proof, unlike Councillor Hughes's clear target about the increase to GDP, these ones don't have a target. They are highly functioning, make us a region that does well together, but they don't have a target given that they're living in the economic zone. So I'm wondering, whoever goes in for us, could you go in to strengthen the mandate of these committees around the economic lens because they're pretty light. We've known about the Golden Triangle for how long, and yet all the business that's happened there has really only perpetuated itself. It wasn't as a direct result of UNISA. Maybe a couple of roads were put in the right place, but I mean, all of that. So I'd like to know, rather than just passively join these regional committees, what is it we're saying that we want out of the space, and that we be really proactive about it. And I like Councillor Hughes's target. We want to partner with people who want to increase the GDP of the region. Okay? And let that be one of the measurables. So again, they're in support of whoever goes on here, but kia ora.
Thanks for the input, Tippet. Gary?
Yeah, Warren, I'd be keen to be part of that, if there's space, but I'd definitely be interested. Yep.
Knowles, yeah, go on. Mikhail?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I've just been newly wed to you, and being your wife, I've heard you use the word I and myself quite a few times this morning. And I don't want to end up like the last chair of being divorced straight away. So I'll go anywhere where you can't go, okay? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to read the small print and small print in your vowels too, by the way. All right. Yeah.
That committee does get to talk to the Mayor of Auckland, which is useful, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's, yeah. Waikato Mayoral Forum, perhaps you do one. Yeah. Yeah. It does say 2 members there. And the deputy, yeah.
Just again, my experience is it's the mayors and the chair who turn up. That is the mayoral forum.
Yep.
I think I have seen on occasions for mayors where others have gone in place of, but it would be appropriate to be the.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On that committee, just really keen for a conversation at some point, or understanding how it will be more transparent to this council as well as to the other TAs, because we're going to talk, you're going to talk about big things like shared services and amalgamations, and that can't be done outside of any visibility or scrutiny. Yeah.
Was it not like that previously?
Yeah. So all you would ever know about the Mayoral Forum, if even, yeah, is that they met. You're not after the fact, and there's
Thank
not
you.
even minutes.
Waikato River Authority. Now, I did try and seek some clarity on this, and I don't know if Chris has heard back, but Tipper indicated potentially that Stu would be sitting down, but Stu's indicated to me that he's not.
Yeah.
And he's got
I talked to Stu this morning.
He's been
and
appointed.
it was a recommendation from this committee to the minister.
Yep.
And the minister made the appointment, not this council. So
No,
that
I
was a
understand that.
recommendation. And he tells me this, he rang me on another matter, and I asked him, and he said, I've got another 2 years to run.
I understand he's just in the last week received confirmation of his.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was the question. Use a mic. Yeah.
And the reappointment process, he did stand as an independent. So our better way of seeking clarity is straight through MFE, because they're appointer. And noting that Sousa, the former mayor of Waipa, also would have created a local government vacancy, as far as I understand. But if we could get that directly from MFE for the timeline.
Yep. Is something you can pick up? Yep. Okay. Thanks for that.
Sorry, but, and Mr. Chair, that applies to me too with the board of Taupo Nui Aotea, because I got appointed just just this year. So if I didn't become elected in this term, then I still would have been on the board for the next.
That's how they carried it on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Robbie.
No, mine was the one, but
Wait, this isn't the end of the process. So if you want to speak back to something else. Yeah. So Wharikawa Coast now is not a separate working party, as we discussed. That's moved into the Hauraki one overall. Yeah, and we've got Wintec Animal Ethics committee, which we appointed outside of council last time.
Mr. Chair, I just wonder, we're asked to do these nominations and it came up last time. Do we really carry on with nominating people that aren't these are not core functions of council. We don't appoint councillors. Is it really time to say, I don't know.
The only comment I'd make about this is it's set up in some government legislation that the regional council must appoint a nominee to these things. So they come to us for that. They often say they don't want to come to us, but they have no choice if they want someone on it. And they can't function, they can't actually do their job if they don't have someone on it.
I might just add one more comment as well. The previous council delegated this decision-making to the chairperson and the CE, so actually we don't need council to worry about this anymore. We'll whip it out of the document and we'll go through the process of putting any nominations in front of the chair and the CE going forward.
Thank you, Marley. Did you want to comment, Gary? Or no? Robbie?
So this is the one that we nominated Stu Husband for as well, or not? Because there's three of these. Oh, geez.
Sorry, Gary.
Just go back to the River Authority. Did I miss something? Because it says here on the form that there's 2 members. So is that including Stu or not?
It's one member. It's one member.
So there's 2 members on the form here.
Yeah, she should know better because she was there. So the Crown appoints 5.
Okay.
And 2 councils are
Two
part
come from
of
local
it.
government.
Yep, and it says Waipa and the regional council. They come to us to let us know how it's open. We elect somebody and we send it back to them and they say yay or nay.
It's all TAs, not just Waipa.
Mm-hmm.
But Waipa's been the clever one that have always got some.
Sorry,
Yeah,
but
so it is only a one. Yep.
But just to clarify, Tipper did suggest, because from what I remember, we did nominate Stu Kneebone from the regional council, but you also said he applied independently. So he may have been appointed as an independent.
And so
which
that's
means
it.
that may be
Tipper
vacant
raised,
for
we'll
us.
we'll get clarity, and Chris has got that in his notes to follow up on that.
That brings us to the end of the appointments document. So thank you for.
I noticed the Farm Environment Trust Award hasn't been mentioned and it was on the hard copy.
The Farm Environment Awards, the trust, the charity that deals with that has been disbanded 2024.
No problem.
Mr. Chairman, you don't have mayoral powers. So whereas the mayor can just say, these are my chairs and deputies and whatever, and these are the committees, which can be overturned by 75%, if I remember correctly, council if they don't like it. We're in a completely different boat. So you mentioned earlier that you were going to bring forward a recommendation, is what I took from what you said. Correct me if I'm wrong. That to me is that what the council wants, or do we discuss the whole thing? No, I'm not sure if I've got a position on it at the moment, but I just want clarity. Please.
Okay, so what I gathered out of the workshop that we did have, the councillor only time as we went round, that first off it was for myself to have one-on-ones, get some recommendations on one, populating the committee, and then 2, also getting some information on who would like to be deputy or chair in those positions. And then I was coming back to the council with a recommendation on that in that space, and which I'd be so I've come back on the populating of the committees, and we've now finalised that. So then I'd be looking to come back again with a recommendation on the deputies and chairs as I see them, which would then go to a vote of the whole of council at the November meeting.
This intermediate step of discussing that with the whole council before the council meeting.
No.
Can I ask for the views of the rest? I'm either way, but I just want it to be, people need to have an opportunity to say what they think and whether they agree or disagree. So, yeah.
Well, look, happy to hear from the table and the discussions I've had on the one-on-ones. There's been indications made. So, but Yep, now is the time prior to lunch. Jennifer?
Yep, no, I'd be interested to hear from people in light of some of the agreement, not decisions made, but agreement on which committees are there and aren't there. Who's got an interest in chairing or deputy chairing anything, just so that I can start thinking about things, don't have to wait till a meeting to find out in an agenda. That would be the main thing, is just trying to understand and get a bit of a picture of the interest out there. Thank you. And I think we've got the time based on what's left. That's all.
So I've got quite a bit of that information and I'm happy to get it out, definitely well prior to the meeting of that November council, if that helps. Robbie?
Oh, no.
Okay. Yeah, let's just hold this because there is a discussion that wants to be had. So currently that was the setup previously.
Yeah, I know.
Those four circ. No, well, let's tick this one off and then that's all the committee's done for staff's interest. The next piece is a discussion among ourselves on how we see the process going. So yeah.
Yeah, this one here, I do not understand why the chair of ICM is not on this committee. It's that's the only argument I've got there. Chair would, and the other thing I'd like to discuss with that is that if a chair isn't able to be there, his deputy chair should be allowed to represent the committee that he stands on those committees. So I hope that's something we sort out this term. It was a niggly one with me last term, and I just would like that point put in as well.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Noel. So that's for this committee. So
It's actually all committees. The truth, if you're a deputy chair and you're inclusive to your deputy, you aren't able to get it off. So most probably are going to struggle on a few. Something that I would like as chair, and not with my deputy or whichever way it is around. That if Noel would say, hey Robbie, I can't. I've got every right to have speaking rights and voting rights. It would be helpful.
hang on, can I just get a mic? I do have a speaking order.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay,
Just talking to.
Yeah, just to support Robbie's comments. On one occasion, he asked me to represent him because he couldn't be there. And we talked about the agenda and we were in agreement with what was the thoughts coming forward from ICM, and I was able to represent those. And I think Robbie's highlighted a good point, is whether you've got a good relationship between deputy and chair, that the viewpoints from that committee should be able to be articulated through the deputy as the alternative. So I think this also comes up with, I think, was it audit and risk? I'm not sure.
Yeah, risk and insurance is chairs.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to see Robbie in there as well. So yeah, anyway, or the chair.
Okay. So if I can just, before I go out to further comments, if I can just get some clarity. So the structure of risk and insurance and CERC specifically list the chairs. So am I hearing that what you want to do is if the chair can't make it, the alternate is the deputy and they have the same rights as if chair?
Adding CM chair to this.
And that's the second piece to it, yeah.
Adding that and the alternates having the ability to represent fully, including both.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just think that.
You use your mic, Robbie, please.
I think you've explained that well, what I was trying to get across. It's just to be inclusive, that has been inclusive. And that I think we're trying to build a cohesive council. So you're not asking someone to turn up and represent their the committee that they sit on and then just saying, but you're going to be the doormat while you're there. You're actually going to be able to represent your committee and the decision you make.
Okay, so I have Angela, Noel, Chris, Jennifer, and then Tippers. Angela. Okay, no Noel.
Are we still on the circ or?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, please. Let's finish this and then we can go back.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with what's been said. I'll got comments for other things.
Thank you. Chris?
I'm just issuing a word of caution. CERC is actually quite a personal committee for the chief executive. And the more people you put around the table, the more intimidating it becomes, less value you actually get out of the meeting. And I'm saying this in all sincerity. I've sat there, not just here, I've sat in other organisations, and adding people to the committee doesn't add any value in some cases. So I'd really prefer that the decision on this was, no, it's not his job, but I'd be interested in hearing from the chief executive, because I don't want to have the chief executive put under undue pressure by having more people sitting around the table, adding very little value to the discussion which has already taken place with the people that have been. So that's my view on this. I don't think we should be adding more people.
Okay, thank you. You want to? Yeah.
My only comment would be is that I think the people who sit around CERC aren't there to represent their committees. Otherwise, it's going to be a competition as to what my KPIs are for their own committee sort of thing. They've got to be there because of the genuine interest in
Performance management.
in my performance,
Yeah.
and my other matters that are related to the organisation, and my that would be my main comment. I think I do concur with what Chris has just said. I know that there's a view that I'm employed by you all, and so you should all have an equal representation as well. It's got to be what works, and I think that people who have been around the table with it understand what goes before it and kind of how it works from a good governance point of view. I guess that I don't know if you had any discussion about that yesterday, about the relationship with the chief executive and the employment of the chief executive, and I don't know where you got to with that. But it's a relevant point that's been raised.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jennifer.
Thanks. Yeah. Like our CE just said, it's actually more important that it's the interest of the councillors in that particular HR topic. It's actually a new thing in my experience. It was done last triennium to help stack an important committee. It wasn't like that before. So it doesn't have to be this way. It's all I was saying. So if we wanted to look to what Chris is saying, Chris Hughes is saying around keeping it small, and that would be one way I would suggest we go, because otherwise Robbie's point is entirely on point that ICM should be on there if you're doing it to represent your committee. The committee chairs also get quite busy. So just keep that in mind. If it was just me, I would say, take all of that out and just say, who are the 5 people who love HR?
Yeah. That's a
Keith.
Yeah, I think there's not a compromise, but a halfway house here. I totally concur with what Robbie's saying, and one of the things that I think should be fundamental to this organisation in our triennium is to build people up and bring them through and learn to trust each other. The critical part, which you raise, Chris Hughes, is the interface with the chief executive should be to probably 2 or 3, so that the discussion is had behind the scenes, and then the interface, the hard-nosed discussion, and it talks about the KPIs, and that should be left to the, I'll call it the seniors of that group, and get it done that way.
So just for clarity around that, what CERC does.
Confirming.
So, and that goes through the paper. It's not CERC deciding. We'll take that. So that's clarity.
Kia ora, and yield to the previous CERC members and their experience, but I was just going to echo what Jen said. It was the committed team of people who had either HR capacity one, so I'd like to ask everyone putting their name up, do you have experience of a high-performing CEO that you've managed? And it's okay if you haven't, then we should make sure that that committee gets all the training they require to become those people. because we want high efficiency, but then we've got to be our most efficient selves. And I find a lot of the comments, not from CERC, but from CERC to the council, that's created an unsafe environment, whether we feel left out or for whatever reason. So that's one. Two, I'd rather it not be representative, because then it makes sense to me why some of the environment KPIs have been somewhat fluffy, because there's no one from that sector and that committee. So we've tried to tag a KPI on something that we can't cause alone. Yeah. So it's an inappropriate KPI. This is just me from our experience. Not you, Chris. I've had 3 CEs under me, so I'm just talking about all of them. So just those two things. So I think that the commitment with an alternate to provide for quorum is probably better than making our busiest chairs busier if HR isn't in their wheelhouse. Kia ora.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with what Pippa just said. I think that the chair, most of the things need to be taken out of there, and it's the best councillors to represent us. Would be a far better way, because it looks biased when you see that there without integrated catchment in it.
I imagine we can trust that because of how important the work is under those committees. Of course, they're not going to be missed out in KPIs.
No.
We can trust each other to do
And,
that.
and I understand now that alternate should not be in that committee, but I was more talking in finance when I brought that up anyway. So if that, I think definitely finance, any deputy chair should be able to represent the committee, because that's why you're there.
So just as an example, sorry.
Yeah, I actually think that firstly, you shouldn't have the older deputies as alternates on this committee. I agree with Chris Hughes that this is tight. However, if you don't have the chairs nominated, then how do you pick the best people who are HR competent? It could be just who puts their hand up, who might have particular beef with the chief executive. So I'm just saying that I would support integrated catchment being on there, given that you're looking at the large spends. But the question I had is, I'm assuming that other council members can't just sit in on this committee. It's not open. Because effectively you have no voting rights.
Completely open.
So, yeah,
There's been completely.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Noel's attended quite often.
Yeah.
Jen's attended.
Yeah.
So there have been a number of councillors sit in on it.
yeah. So I mean, I would support integrated catchment, but not the deputies.
Chris, please.
So if it's helpful, it does go to council to set the KPIs. My performance gets assessed at the end of the day on a recommendation of all of council, and all of council is able to have input to it. I don't want anybody to think that at CERC there's a subgroup that sets the whole direction of council kind of in secret with me, and that's the place you've got to be able to be party to that discussion. That's not how it works at all.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for that clarity. That is quite true. Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Warren. I'm taking on board exactly what Pippa was saying before. 100% correct. And I just ask you all to put yourself in Chris's shoes, having a group of people sitting around the table, and some of it can be quite intimidating, and it's not intentional, but it just happens that way. And if I was in Chris's shoes, I would, a chief executive shoes, I wouldn't want to have a group of 10 people. It's not about this is not about spending money. You talk about integrated catchment being that's not what CERC's about. This is an HR committee about trying to do the best to help our chief executive. It's not about, certainly it's about what he does and how he performs in his role. But nothing to do with the spending of money. Leave it there, thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Angela.
Yeah, just reflecting on what's been said so far. There's two schools of thought: keep it as is, and the other one is to, get an ideal committee size of about 4, and get rid of the chairs. I'd probably be in support of making it smaller and getting rid of the chairs altogether, getting the right people around the table for this one.
Jen.
Yeah, look, my motivation comes from that. I'm unlikely to be a chair of any of those committees. Not something I've indicated, but it is a committee I've gone to for the majority of last training and the one before. I'll be going with whatever we decide. And so if we want to keep it intimate, I would definitely advocate for making it for people who have the interest in that space.
Okay, so I think there's a number of different views around the table. So I think what I'll do is we'll take this offline. Come and see me. Let's have a chat and see if we can get a bit of a direction to staff on where we go with this, and we'll work that through, and that'll come to that November meeting. We'll leave that there. Okay, so back to the discussion around the chairs and deputies of the committees. And for those that haven't spoken to date on that matter. Go.
Yeah, I think we've been pretty open and transparent right from the beginning with all this, you know, the way that we've gone about electing the chair and the deputy chair, and the open discussion that you've had one-on-one with all the councillors. So, and I think some of the chairs that all get elected on those committees is a no-brainer because they've got experience and stuff like that. So it's not a huge, dilemma for me if it's more worked out on the 1st of November. I mean, yeah, I'm quite happy with your decision that you made before.
Thanks, Mikhail. Angela.
Yeah, yeah, I'm happy with the process up to now. Just picking up Mikhail's points that it has been quite open and transparent. Just curious about the hesitation not to discuss it now.
We are discussing it. I'm happy to hear from councillors what sort of process you're looking for. I've outlined one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably keen to pick up Jen's suggestion around, yeah, see who's interested and see where it falls. Yeah. And lunch soon, please.
Tipper.
Kia ora, Mr. Chair. Basically just seeking space for you to get you've had all the feedback. You can rank, I guess, back to us who's at least indicated their interest in the roles, because some people might not have. So we should know that for when we come back together as a council. Second one is, I note, and this isn't about who's been here a long time and who hasn't, but often people that haven't done local government don't realise how bureaucratically dense this place is. Hey, and how? No, I just mean an email turns into a whole day meeting and you didn't know how. Yeah, and I'm playing to your common sense that if people find that it really isn't them or the way they're holding the portfolio, that we give them leave to say later on, hey, I wasn't up for 20 meetings in 1 week about one thing. So I just want to create that as a frame for us, that if in a year's time this isn't you, don't feel wedded to it, because some of them are more bureaucratically dense than they need to be. But the other one is, so as I said, Katarina and I have split the portfolios. We've agreed that we have to work with whoever's in transport. It's the one area we can't both get around as well as everything else. So to those who lead transport, we look forward to working with you. And again, hope to be really resourceful to the chair and deputy, because they're stepping into some of the spaces that we used to. So again, that's just a close from me and Kata. And you can say what you want to, Chair, but I could really help certain policy if that's where you want me killed.
Yeah, just picking up the first part of Tipper's thing, Tipper. I fully support your suggestion, Warren. You've done the overview of the people. You've had a read of the people. Give us your thoughts on what should be, and then we can sort out amongst ourselves by the time we get to the 20th. And I think give us a little bit of leeway, and it'll be for some behind the scenes discussions, but I think that saves a lot of grief and boxing shadows, really.
Yeah, thank you. I'll just Marley, how long is the remuneration piece? I just looking, I don't want to break for lunch now if it's 10 minutes and we're done.
I'd like to think 10 minutes, but it could turn into more like half an hour or an hour, depending on how many questions the councillors might have on it. I think it's a pretty straightforward topic, but I know it in and out. So in your hands.
Okay, so my understanding is that the councillors that have been here previously understand the remuneration and the way it works. So we've got 4 to sort of get up to speed and in the same space. Now, there's a thought. No, so let's give it a crack for 10 minutes, which will take us till 1:10. If it looks like it's going to go down a rabbit hole, then we may have to adjourn for lunch and come back. But let's have a crack at getting through it. Sorry, Noel.
So Warren, just preempting what you're going to say, but those numbers in there actually equated to percentage. The roles were packaged together and they were given a percentage value. I think it was 110% for the 2 chairs. There's dollar values in here. And yeah, so it wasn't, let's pick a number. We settled on a percentage compared to a base of 100%. And I think deputy chairs only got 102, 103%, and then it went up. So
I'm sure Marley's
going to
just...
You're going to touch on that, Marley?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, let's rip through this, and I believe we can get through it in 10 minutes too.
Sure, and I won't even bring up the PowerPoint. I'll go straight to the spreadsheet. If you pop that up, Dave, and I'll just quickly cover the basic information. The remuneration or the remuneration authority sets remuneration for yourselves, as well as allowances and other things like that. For Waikato Regional Council, there's a total pool of just under $1 million, or $986,695 to be exact. They also set a minimum councillor allowance, and for this financial year, that is 63,121. So that's the base, the very minimum for a councillor. But the council has discretion around how it allocates remuneration for additional responsibilities. So here at this council, it has been the practice to recognise the additional responsibilities that chairs and deputy chairs perform through the term. In the paper, we set out what that looked like in the previous term, and what we've tried to replicate here in the example on the screen and in the agenda is something that is close to what we had last term. So as you can see, the deputy chair of council, chair people are identified as those with the additional responsibilities. The other thing that is maybe not completely unique, but certainly a decision that this council previously made, is that there are 2 different levels of chair people role. And that was based on the size of the job. So some of our committees have bigger jobs than others. Some of our committees meet more frequently than others. And so we've identified here strategy and policy and ICM, but this is up for discussion. There may well be other committees, now that you've had the opportunity to talk about your committees and what they look like, that might fit in that large category as well. What we also have on the screen is ICM Deputy Chair, identified as somebody who is in a role that deserves recognition. But this is all up for discussion and consideration. There may well be roles that we haven't identified here that you think should be. So that's it in a nutshell. If you want us to play around with the ratios in that column where you see 1.3 for the deputy chair, etc., then we can do that on the fly.
So first off, I just want to clarify, so everybody understands that slide? Looking for nods. Okay, so now it comes down to the weighting that you're putting to the various roles that you see on that page. Now, I know none of us are in it for the money, so we'll get to where you see the weighting is on those responsibilities. So Noel first, then Angela, and then Ben.
Sorry, I didn't have it on. It was on, but
Okay. Apology accepted. Angela.
Yeah, just with the discussion and where the committees we're looking at, transport, I believe, should be up there along the lines of SN strategy and policy, sorry, and ICM as well, and also the deputy chair of that as well should be in line with the deputy chair of ICM, given that your external committee plus the internal committee plus the PT subcommittee. So yeah, if we sort of get that modelled, if everyone's in agreement.
But, Ben,
Yeah, I actually think they've got too many chairs for transport. You've got RTC Public Transport and WRC. I just understood there was 2 chairs and that the public transport was actually a subcommittee according to this diagram here. So I think you've probably got 1 chair extra in there than what we allocated.
Okay, let's change the number. So just starting from the top, Dave, it should be 1 for deputy chair of council. We're going to try 3 for the next column down, which is the larger chair people category. The next column down should be then 4. And then for deputy chairs, 2. And would you mind making the screen a bit larger, please?
no,
Sorry, the ICM role was recognised, the deputy chair role was recognised at this beginning of the training of having worked over and above most of the other deputy chairs. I think from my experience as holding that role in the last triennium, when I used to joke the only difference between what he and I were doing was generally the fact that he was the chair. If the Lower Waikato is represented in either of these roles, you will find that it is in their full-time job. And it is a considerable workload. Greatest respect to Deputy Chair Transport. I certainly agree with the transport role. It's been 1 chair. I think it doesn't need to be 3 different people. I couldn't justify their justification having the chair of 2 of those committees at that same level as the second line. I just think we should talk about the rationalisation rather than just throwing it up there. And to people who undertook those roles, if they want to contribute to this or if you want to hear from those people. But yeah, I invite Robbie to talk about, certainly in the ICM role, is where we got to and look at the difference because he was across more committees than I was because of the role as chair of ICM. So I just wonder, it's all very well just sitting here and throwing up numbers, but what the terms of reference don't actually, to me, give confidence that that's the role, that role equates to that work. It was certainly far more than I anticipated with ICM. And the nature.
okay, so I think we've got your point that ICM deputy is quite an extensive role. Okay, yep, no, got that. Katarina.
Marley, down here you got deputy chair ICM transport. So is that note saying it's only those 2 deputy chairs you're recognising, or all deputy chairs, besides the deputy chair of the council?
In this example, it is only those that are identified. So the other question for councillors to consider, are there any other roles that we haven't recognised up here that should
Other
be
than the deputy
recognised?
chairs that are not here?
Yeah.
Because, over the last 2 terms, I fought for deputy chairs to get some remuneration, and it's not here as, it doesn't matter what they were, the deputy chair of. So I'm just making sure that they are still inclusive. If not, why not? No, because deputy chairs never got anything once upon a time. This term, part of last term, was the only time they actually got recognised and got some remuneration as deputy chair. And I just asking the question, is this deputy chair only for those two? If it is, then where's the other deputy chairs? We haven't got any yet, but if we do.
Yes, so you're quite right. This example that we're showing doesn't include all of the deputy chairs. It only includes the deputy chairs for ICM and transport, plus the deputy chair of council. But we can definitely add other roles with additional responsibilities. We're looking for your feedback. The deputies.
So with that point, Katarana, can I ask you, is the deputy chair of EPC doing the same amount of work potentially as the deputy chair of ICM? You see them as a parallel? Can I please get Katarana a microphone? Everyone else, I've got a speaking order.
So with EPC, I made them inclusive while I was the chair. So we met periodically together with Brent. And so with me and Clyde, it was him and I, it was inclusive, which is exactly what I thought I heard Miko say, a deputy chair should be inclusive. But then the simple reason they are inclusive when I was the chair is you never know when I can't be there, and how do I bring the deputy chair up to play if he's not inclusive?
Okay.
So does he do the same work? Well, of course he won't chair if I'm here, but if I go out of the room for any amount of time, he's got to come into that space. He, she, whoever. But that's only me as the chair. I may not be the chair, so it won't worry me if the deputy chair is paid or not in theory. But I fought for 2 terms for deputy chairs to be paid something. Doesn't have to be a lot, just something.
Thank you. Jennifer.
Thanks. Yep, I get that point. I do also wonder whether 9 discretionary and 10 chair roles anyway, 10 people, and us talking heaps and heaps about being inclusive. Surely with 14 people, there are actually quite a lot of deputy chair opportunities, so that at the end of the day, because I'm sorry, I don't know up last training. Start when all got start, but for a time, for one of the roles who didn't have either and it came up. So by default, addressing Katarana, that if we as a group wanted that everybody is either a chair or a deputy, then by default the other no responsibilities one becomes the same as a deputy chair. Yeah. Just something to consider.
Okay, Tipper.
Kia ora, I just wanted to speak to the, so I've seen ICM successfully co-chaired, and I happened to work with these gentlemen last time, so I'd like to see for you to consider the co-chair model, because it makes both catchments feel equally important. It's not so much about the gentlemen themselves. I think they're both requisite to do, either one of them could lead this. It's not about that. But I know when we showed up and Lau Waikato had its catchment chair and Waihopiako had its catchment chair, they both felt, equally responded to by our council. So just throw that one out there. In terms of the dollars and cents stuff, I just wanted to raise that in our roles, I've done more representations outside of my constituency for this council that end up as a cost to me after the training. So I just want to note, how do we log those times? Because everyone says, what's the value of a Māori ward? Well, you wouldn't know that I've showed up for council, I've mentored rangatahi, I've spoken to school, all of these things, because they're not listed anywhere. And I'm not looking for a Skype sheet. It's just like, how do you log the work if it's outside of the committee? So just put that with you, Marley. It's a question mark for me. But when it's hours over and above in other constituencies, how can we just log that work or at least get the transport and other payments for it? Thank you.
Robbie.
Yeah, it's either way, you're taking on a big workload. In 18 months, I've done 100,000 kilometres in a vehicle, and it's a lot of wear and tear. That's my own, like your mileage doesn't pay for any of that.
Is that the one you tipped over too?
And that's including one I've written off, including that time. So I've lost about $30,000 on my vehicle in 18 months. So I put a lot of personal cost into taking the responsibility of the committees that I sit on. So it's not an easy one, but I know where Noel's coming from, but no matter what, once you take that responsibility, there's a huge personal cost to it. And no matter what, that is not refunding your time and effort that you put into it.
Keith?
Yeah, I'd just like to put in the deputy chair things. You've got ICM and transport, but I think Stratton Pole is going to have a huge body of work ahead of it, and we need to have a deputy that is competent to carry part of the load as well.
Yeah, Ben?
Oh, just to say that I talked about the chair for RTC Public Transport and WRC Transport, and we've
That's
removed RTC from the chairs under EPC. There should be 4 in there. And I do suggest that, given the debate that had some angst in it last time round about deputy chairs having some acknowledgement, it might be useful to put in another line below with your 1.02 or whatever it was, because it was only $1,000. It wasn't much, but it was an acknowledgement. So,
yeah, Cameron.
I agree with Katarina and what you were saying, and with Robbie, the two of you there, the importance of some recognition for the deputy chairs. There's going to be a lot of work, I think, in that DPC.
Yeah, Carl.
I'm easy. I'm just, I agree with this, whatever it is. I mean, we don't take on this job for money, and I should know that the most because I travelled the most and went to the most meetings. We do it for the ratepayers. That's why we're here.
Okay. Look, I'm gonna round this up, but because it doesn't sound like we're gonna get to a final solution that we can just take straight then. But Angela, and then I'll come to Jen, then I'll come to Noel, and then I think I'll leave it there.
Yeah, just to, yeah, no, that's fine.
Thank you. And Jen?
The civil defence role in the past had been chaired by the regional council representative, but that changed last triennium. We will see what happens with that.
Is this relative to this?
Yes, because if you are chairing a joint committee of the region, I imagine it's quite a bit of work. So I just wanted to flag that for staff to consider either eventuality, that if we're a member of that committee, that's one thing, right? And if we're chairing that committee, that may change things. That's all. That was the main one. And yeah, around the ratios, my feedback is that the most cohesion in a group of people always happens when things are as close together as possible while still recognising those things.
No.
Look, all I'd like to say is that I did some work on this. The ICM deputy role, whoever it is about 3 days a week. And that should be the benchmark in which the other deputies earmark. Just turning up to a meeting with the director and sorting out an agenda and whatever is not 3 days a week. So I just ask you to look at the benchmark.
No, I think we understand the input in.
There's one thing I'd like to add to that. Noel's right. I think that a deputy chair in EPC would be doing the same work as an ICM would be doing the same work as the chair of EPC. And he does make a good point there. But I'm just
2 cents in.
I just put my 2 cents worth of
2 cents in. Right. I think we're gonna leave it there. I know it probably doesn't give you enough, but there's another. Obviously, it's going to be a bigger discussion come the council meeting. So thank you very, very much for your attendance today. We got some really good feedback coming through for staff on those structures, etc., and the fulfilment of those committees. So excellent. I think we're nearly there. So thank you very much for your time today. I believe lunch is served next door. And I'll get Chris to close us with the karakia. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, and thank you, councillors. That was an excellent discussion today. Unahia mai te uru tapanui, kia wātia, kia māma, te nākau, te tinana, te hinenaro, e te ara takatu, koe rā e rongo, e whakaaria aki ke runga, pia tina, tina, homie huie, tai kie.
Pass dismissed.